Good evening. Welcome to the show. I am Rick McCormick, the namesake of the show, and your host for the next 60 minutes, where we talk about real estate and all things real estate in this market and many other things. We have great guests on. Wow. The fifth season. We've been doing this show for a while. A lot of listeners, a lot of followers, and let me tell you a little bit. If you're a first-time listener, let me tell you a little bit about who I am. Okay, you're listening to Rick McCormick's show, and that's a name marketing people came up with. My name. I was a college and professional basketball coach for many years, and transitioned about a decade ago into real estate, and we've done very well, and became pretty significant players in assisting people, residential and some commercial, but primarily residential real estate. Here we developed a team of realtors. I've written some books that are kind of I'll call them self-help books, Selling Secrets You Can't Afford to Miss, that breaks down all of the things about selling your home. Good information. I would speak places, and people would ask for handouts, and we put together different things, and they started emailing us and calling us and writing us, and so we finally put it together in a book. And it's a good book about the marketing strategies we use, the pricing strategies, the negotiation, and selling your home, selling secrets you can't afford to miss. And then another one is called Your Guide to Purchasing a Home for Buyers. Not necessarily a real unique title, but good book, good information. It talks about home inspection. I was at a home inspection today. We got 2 buyers under contract over the weekend. Two different, an older couple in a gated community in a lovely home that was, in the $350,000 to $400,000 range. Then on the polar opposite, got a young man. It's going to be his first home ever, and a first-time home buyer. We got both of those, so we're going to be doing home inspections. And I try to attend those myself, because and people ask sometimes, like, you're very busy. You shouldn't be at these. And I said, we are about our theme. The Rick McCormick Realty Group under eXp Realty is we're about relationships over transactions. And with that said, if I do not attend, if I'm not there to help people and show them the house and negotiate the house and be involved in the contract and go to their home inspections and be involved with their appraisal and their final walkthrough and their closing, where is the relationship built? That's how we build a relationship, and that's how we develop lifelong friends, and we wind up working with their family and relatives and, friends that they refer to us. So, home inspection earlier today, but Your Guide to Purchasing a Home, that book, talks about all of those elements. We've got an 11-step process for the buyer that we have implemented and that we take you through. I mean, some people think that, I feel like the majority of people don't really understand the role of a true broker and real estate professional. And I know there are some people that we call them, they show up and they unlock the door. That's kind of where it starts, and that's kind of where it ends, but not with us. We are there to help you with every step of the process, and we help you with the financing, getting set up. Because let's be honest, it doesn't matter how pretty the lawn is, how pretty the backsplash in the kitchen is. We have to first set the element of being able to afford and finance the house and have financing in place. And once we have that, then, it's like that pre-authorized credit card. I mean, you can have a credit card in your wallet with a $30,000 credit limit. That doesn't mean you have to go spend it all. And that's kind of the way with pre-approval for a home. We can see what you're pre-approved for. We can set your budget on how much you may want to spend, and then we can start looking at homes accordingly. And that's what we do. So we're here to talk about all the elements of real estate. So I mentioned, who I am. And so I am the owner and founder of the Rick McCormick Realty Group, powered by eXp Realty. We have a great team of realtors. We got some down in Ardmore, got some in Sulphur, got a great team out in Garden City, Kansas. Got people in Northwest Arkansas, got Northwest Oklahoma City, Edmond. We got great people in this organization throughout. But you reach out to me, and our number's there on the screen at 405-310-7470, and I'll handle your business personally, handle it myself. These books that I'm referring to, you drop me a text message at that number, 405-310-7470, and I'll send you a digital copy of those books at absolutely no cost to you. If you look on there and drop me an email and want a hard copy, I'll be happy to autograph one, and we'll get you one of those books. I think they're $9.95, for a hard copy that basically, covers the mailing for the most part. So that's one. But we're going to look at the market and what's happening around the country. We're going to look at inventory. We come on here every 2 weeks, and we talk about our market here in Oklahoma City area. And our MLS system covers Oklahoma City in about a 50-mile radius. And so we talk about, every market is a little bit different. So is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? That is all determined by inventory. How many homes are for sale? How many buyers you have? How many homes used to be? And you have to understand kind of what is conventional, what is normal in the market. If you're in a real small town, somewhere, 75 homes that may be a lot. People are surprised when I talk to them about the magnitude of what goes on here in our market. But how many homes sell? So we're going to take a look at a few of those numbers here this evening, and in segment 2, we're going to be joined by the owner at Security Financial Mortgage, Mr. Kendal Dexter, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about what's happening in the mortgage market, which today the stock market was, don't rush out and sell any stocks tomorrow. I think the Dow was down, the market was down about 800 points today. And the world economy seems to kind of go up and down. But in recent times, those interest rates have kind of followed the stock market. That hasn't always been the historical trend, but it has been recently. Like you have a terrible day of the stock market, such as today, interest rates have kind of fallen. But before we get to that, like I said, we'll have our mortgage expert on in segment 2. Let's look at what's happening. What I focus on here on our show is we look at what's happened in the past 7 days. How many new homes are listed? We're in prime time. We're in May. It's gorgeous weather. It's Memorial Day weekend coming up. Homes are on the market. People are ready to do something. I think there's a lot of pent-up energy. If we were to see the Federal Reserve to drop the bond yields, to drop interest rates, or if they drop the bond yield and interest rates follow, if things would go right now and drop a point, if they'd get down just to where everything was below the 6 mark and starting with a 5, I think we would just have a flurry, a little mini explosion in our real estate market here in this area and in this state. But right now in this past 7 days, we had 793 new properties come on the market. That's the last 7 days now, gang. 178 come back on the market. That's almost 1,000 new properties. Now, sold. We closed and sold 553. So that's 5 business days. That means every day we're closing 110 properties in our market. Another 674 went pending. Now, there's always those 92 expired, 60 were withdrawn. There's 150 that didn't sell. So there, when somebody says, there's nothing going on in the housing market, nobody's buying, nobody's selling, think again. Okay? Don't listen to your next door neighbor. Don't listen to your friend from church and their cousin. We're giving you the cold hard facts right here about real estate on the Rick McCormick Show. 793 new listings. 178 back on the market. So that'd be 22 and 7. We're 29 listings short of 1,000. new in the last month. Price decrease. Almost 900 of them have dropped their price. 897, exactly. So, based on those numbers, 973 new, 178 back on the market, 553 sold, 674 pendings, almost 900 price decreases. What would we determine based on those numbers? If you're listening, I mean, like I said, feel free to text me at that number, 405-310-7470. Rick McCormick, Realty Group text line. Can we determine that it is perhaps a buyer's market? Now, some people think, interest rates are certainly not ideal. They're certainly not ideal right now. And it kind of depends. If you look at the last 50-year history, they're in pretty good shape over the past. They're lower now than they were in the 1970s. Think about that. You heard me right. Interest rates today, they're a little bit on the high side. They're lower today than they were in the 1970s. But they're not as low as that period that everybody remembers 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 2000. Excuse me, not 2020, 2021, 2020, 2021. We had stuff 275, 295, 3%, 3.25. I don't think we're going to ask mortgage expert in a moment. I don't think we're ever going to see that again. What I would like to see, and I think he would agree, we'd like to see this thing get to about 5% and stay there. Get something that is sustainable and stays there for the next 10 years. And people don't even talk about interest rates. It's not even a point of discussion. They don't even ask. They just know stuff's about 5%, 5.25%, 4.95%. They just know. Can you imagine that if it's not the lead story on podcasts and television shows, and it's just, where they're at? All right, speaking of interest rates, let's go ahead here and move to our second segment where we bring on the owner at Security Financial Mortgage, Kendal Dexter. See him over there in the studio. Kendal, great to have you with us again this evening.
Coach, great to be here. Not great. You understated how bad these rates are. Like, they are hideous. And they keep on getting, we're approaching, we had a worse point in recent history, but not by a lot. So they're approaching that level, and something's got to give here. It's different than the 70s because the cost of real estate, right? And the effective interest rate on a low amount of debt is tremendously different than the effect of interest rate on a high amount of debt.
Certainly. Yeah, certainly.
So it still makes it a good time to buy, so long as you're comfortable affording the payment during the period of time that you have this rate. But it makes it a bad time to buy if you can't.
Well, absolutely. Our inventory tonight, Kendal, is 7,800. Now, if you're listening for the first time, like, okay, what does that mean? And I sound like a broken record if you listen to each show. But normal prior to COVID in our market was 6,000. Single. This includes townhouses, condominiums, duplexes, any property that a single person or single family would live in, not commercial listings. 6,000. Tonight, we're at 7,800. That's a significant increase, and therefore, this becomes kind of a buyer's choice deal. So while this is what you must weigh, while interest rates are not desirable, as Kendal said, use the word hideous. He's going to tell us how much they went up today and in the last week. But at the same time, there's a lot of people out there looking to sell their property, 7,800. So, what, Kendall, break it down for you. I mean, I guess that I understand the rates followed the stock market today and went to a bad point for the consumer.
Yeah, minus 48 basis points, which, as we always say, you can just do that math per 100,000. That's $500 more expensive than yesterday on any loan. So if you have a $200,000 loan pending and you did not lock your rate, it costs you $1,000 basically in one day. And most people are not accustomed to losing $1,000 in a day on anything. So not great. And over the course of the last 2 weeks, down 96. So double that number in a 2-week span. And every loan is 0.96% more expensive. So $960 per 100,000. $300,000 deal, same rate, $3,000 more expensive, minus a little. So we're trending in a bad direction on rates. I would recommend to everybody to lock in your rate, buy your real estate, refi later.
48 points today. How much in the last 7 days again?
We're talking I calculated it since the last time we were on the air 2 weeks ago, 96. So exactly double.
Wow. 96 basis points. So, like you said, to get the same rate on a $300 home, $300,000 home costs you $3,000 more.
Correct, which effectively moves the rate up. Generally speaking, these days, depending on the eighth, it could be anywhere from 30 basis points to 50 per eighth, so quarter to 3/8 worse on the actual rate. We're knocking on the door. Basically, right now, on a conventional loan with really good credit, we're weighing the options of a pretty expensive 649 and a relatively inexpensive 699. Those are kind of the conventional options you're looking at, depending on qualifications and certain factors.
Okay, take us to a government loan, an FHA or a VA. Those are typically a bit less.
They are. The expensive rate on the government loan, you start towing the line of it's so expensive it's illegal at 6%, 6 1/8. 6 1/4 is the first spot where there is some sort of, it makes sense, but it's still too expensive, and you're probably picking the 6.625.
6.625 without a great cost. 6.99 on the conventional without a great cost. Okay.
Without a great cost, but there's still some cost involved. It's just the way the market has been since they started raising the rates.
Certainly. We were on 2 weeks ago on May the 7th, and we're here the first and third Wednesday of each month with the Rick McCormick Show. We and again, Kendall, as I mentioned before you come on, for our listeners that may have your cult fan club that may have joined us just when you come on that don't want to listen to me, that we are now on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, and also on YouTube on the Rick McCormick channel. So you can catch us there, and encourage you to make sure you subscribe to that YouTube channel. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and share with your friends. And I also offered, again, the books that we have written, Selling Secrets You Cannot Afford to Miss, and Your Guide to Purchasing a Home, both available on a Kindle digital copy at no cost. Text that number. Text me and tell me exactly your name and you'd like one of those, and we'll get it out to you at no cost electronically. So with that, back to the thing we were talking about, we look for the Federal Reserve to possibly lower rates on the 7th, and they did not. The next meeting is in mid-June, about 4 weeks from now. In fact, I think it's actually precisely 4 weeks from now, if I'm not mistaken. They're always on a Wednesday, which is the same night as the show. we projected, I felt like, and I think you agreed, that we felt like we'd see a little bit of relief, perhaps a 25 basis point drop. Give us a little deeper look at that, Kendal, because my understanding is that inflation is supposedly improved during March and April. So talk about Jerome Powell, Jay Powell, and the whole Federal Reserve and the bond yields. And I know we were a bit surprised at that. I mean, maybe not just taken aback, shocked, faint, hit the floor, but a little surprised for sure. Why on that, and what do you see in the future going forward?
Well, they're still citing, first of all, I do think there's political background on this with Powell and Trump not quite seeing eye to eye. And because he is independent of the president, he may throw his weight around to do what the president does not want. But they're citing inflation and economic concerns, and the tariffs and things that are a long game if they're going to work. It's a negotiation tactic in my opinion, but the markets are reacting negatively, and it's causing concern for the central bank. So that's what they're citing for their reason for not doing it. But I think there's a little bit of I got you, sucker. A little bit of I'm going to do what the president I don't like. I'm going to do the opposite of what he wants, in my opinion. There is no evidence to that fact. That is complete speculation.
Yeah. Now, Jerome Powell, as far as the political aspect, I believe, hasn't he been a career Republican?
Wasn't he appointed by Trump?
I think that's true as well. He's the 16th chair of the Federal Reserve, and he's held that position since 18. He was the Secretary of the Treasurer under George H.W. Bush, I believe, and Powell is an Ivy League graduate and is a Princeton graduate and graduated from the Georgetown School of Law, and is supposed to be a brilliant, financial mind, and he's been involved in the whole Federal Reserve thing for a while. So yeah, I believe I want to look in our stuff. He I think he was not. It says here he was nominated by Barack Obama, but he assumed office as the chair under Donald Trump. So perhaps he was, he was preceded by Janet Yellen. And so anyway, I mean, like I said, in the earlier deal, in the earlier administration, Trump threatened to fire him and a lot of whatever. And this time he's kind of left him alone, it seems. And so you're saying that because of that history, perhaps he's letting people know, me and my committee, we're running this, and we're going to do what we think is right, not what is popular opinion. Is that what you're seeing?
That's what it seems like. It could be a power struggle between the head of the Fed Reserve and the President of the United States. But in the meantime, what you're saying is exactly right. That could, if they were to lower it to a moderately low level, the starts with a 5 level, it could spearhead a huge push in the housing market, and that's very important for the economic climate, in my opinion.
Well, certainly. I mean, I don't know exactly, and you can weigh in on this with us if you'd like to text us, but the housing industry and people buying homes and selling homes, first of all, that creates there's going to be new building. There's going to be jobs from there. There's going to be mortgage people and real estate people and home and all the different aspects. It's going to fuel the economy. I don't know if housing is the number one driver of the economy in the country. But if it's not number one, Kendall, it's in the top 3 or 4 of all economic drivers. You get a great housing industry, and money starts to move, people start to become employed, and the economy improves, period. And it was artificially raised. They went in this same Federal Reserve, they raised it, a half point, 3/4 of a point. It took it from that 3 1/4 to about 7%, or more than doubled it artificially. Now, is it not time to bring some of that back down to earth? So,
100%. I mean, how much would that drive a positive economy to get some houses moving? And they are moving, as you talked about, but they are listing at a higher rate than they are selling. And what if we turn the tables on that just a little bit and make it 50-50?
Absolutely. 6,000 used to be normal. Right now we got 7,800. All right, that's 1,800 more. That's quite a bit. I mean, 6,000 was normal. Okay, we got an additional 8,000. That's an additional 30%, gang. If you're good at math, that's 30% in our market. Which, from the buyer's perspective, means you can go out there. If I represent you on the buyer's side, we negotiate some pretty good things, some pretty good stuff. You can pick off some good things right now, but at the same time, it's just a different. We need the interest rates would absolutely. It would look like the real estate market was a rocket ship, I believe. And I'm sure you agree. So we'll get more into that in the second half of the hour. We're going to talk a little bit about the second half of the hour about the kind of realtors and real estate agents and some of the numbers there, and take a look at some of that when we come back.
You're listening to The Rick McCormick Show, real estate growth without the guesswork. Don't miss an episode. Tap follow wherever you're listening. Want early access and exclusive updates? Join my insiders list at coachmac10x.com/podcast. Now back to the show.
All right. Welcome back to the show. I'm Rick McCormick. He's Kendal Dexter. We're glad you're with us this evening on this. We come to you from our offices here in South Oklahoma City. Gorgeous day. I mean, 84 degrees here right now at 6:34 p.m. I mean, Kendall, man, gorgeous. I mean, I reside in the kind of the south part of the Metroplex. You reside in the north part, but I mean, it's just been a gorgeous day. You're up there in a golf course community, and I'm down here in little lakes and with lakes and wildlife in the neighborhood. I mean, what a great place to live. I mean, Oklahoma City is a great market, and before I go any further, I'll let you talk about that. I mean, you're really a lifelong resident. You've never lived anywhere else other than, you've lived in different places within the Metroplex, but you've never left this city, have you?
That's correct. I've visited a lot of places, and I've never wanted to live anywhere else. And, you get real comfortable with the fact that there's tornadoes. Sometimes we have violent storms, but when it's nice, it is nice. And the people are nice. It's an amazing place to live, an amazing place to raise children.
Well, absolutely. They call it the Oklahoma Standard. I mean, the people here are helpful, hardworking, value-oriented, value-driven, and to the point of much of the show as far as price of homes. I've been through this again. If you listen to each show, perhaps a broken record, but it is important that we are, Oklahoma City, the most affordable housing in America of the top 25 cities. So we've done research, and they rank the top 25 cities based on population. And Oklahoma City, I believe you'll find, is number 20. It's climbed just ahead of Boston. And, we're talking about the city itself. And then you look at the average price home within each of those cities. And then you look at the average household income. It's because, well, you can go to San Francisco and make so much more money. Yes, you can. But I want you to recognize the difference in the housing. For San Francisco's average home is $1,040 a square foot. You know,
How can anybody afford that?
The 2,500 square foot home is $2.5 million that you could buy here for, I don't know, $350,000. And so that goes a little bit to quality of life when we get high on our area here. You guys live there. Yeah, we do. And I have lived many places and owned homes in many states. And I'm also not a native. I grew up in the dreaded state to people here of Texas. But I've coached all over this state, from east to west, and know people, and it's a smaller state. And I mean, I absolutely love our city and love the area here. But the quality of life, it doesn't matter where you're at. If your income does not allow you to buy and own your own home, and you're in a place here like Oklahoma City where you can, it's a great thing. I want to talk about this weekend, and then I'm going to come back, like I said, we're going to talk a little bit about good realtors and what they do, some of the things they do, and some of the new people in real estate, and say that they get good training and good fundamental background, and that in real estate, how critically important that is. But the weekend I had a chance to work with one of my favorite couples. I've done a number of transactions for them, Jerry Pickett and his wife, Mary. And we put a gated community, nice home up in northwest Oklahoma City in Glenhurst under contract. There's Glenhurst Villas behind it. It's in their gated area. And happy for them. This is they're planning on moving over there, and this being their last home. They're real excited about it. And we had home inspections there today. I had our home inspectors call us first, and it's owned by Scott Hill and his team. He had a team of people there today. We had roof inspection, we had termite inspection, we had home inspections, having all at one time. And I'm there. And I'm there, we're checking everything out. And so that's one of the things that we all recommend. And so we got a mature couple, and they own I've sold 2 of their rental properties and helped them buy 3 rental properties, and done 5-6 transactions with this couple. But then on the other hand, on the other spectrum, we got a young man, Devin Jablasco, I believe, if I said his last name correctly. It's going to be a first-time home buyer. And he's a young guy and works out there, and just a hard-working guy, working a lot of overtime in a warehouse. We're helping him get his first house ever. Where Jerry and him own numerous houses and have owned rental properties. I mean, they've owned 3 or 4 homes and a dozen different rental and investment properties, and I've helped them with half of those, and now putting them in a permanent home. And yet on the other hand, you got a guy here where we're just kind of walking him through. We got his home inspection tomorrow. I'll be out there with Scott Hill, and they call us first inspection team, and the statewide termite and the roofing guys and that. And so it's something, it's not required by law, but we really recommend inspections for our home buyers that I represent, because we want no surprises. We want everything to work. I hope the home inspectors tell us everything is great and everything is wonderful, but we want to make sure there's no surprises. So, a older, more mature couple that might be buying their last home, we got under contract over the weekend, and I got a young guy in Devon buying his first home under contract. So really a neat thing, Kendall, and I know you are the lender for Devon, and Jerry and them, are in a position where they pay cash for most of their transactions, but had a couple of those, and you got several homes listed and working with sellers. And so this whole real estate game is really just a people business, and I just love it. It's a great thing and a great industry.
It really is. The fruits of our labor is money in your bank, but the entire thing is based on helping people achieve something that is going to change their life financially. And we've seen it over and over, and we've helped so many people that have now they have 50, 60, 70, $100,000 in home equity that if they were still renting, they would not have. This is the big deal, and this is why a guy like Devin buying a house, coming from renting a place and going and buying a house, he's going to find himself with more money than he's ever had before in the future because you're making a savings account out of paying rent, basically. And I love it. I love what we do. It's not easy. You're trying to get people to give you hundreds of thousands of dollars to purchase this thing, and it's not easy to do that. But we try to make it as easy as possible, and anybody can do it. It's just a matter of what do we need to do to make it happen for you if you're not ready.
Well, absolutely. The two thoughts that response to what you said, number one, we want to work together to help change the trajectory of someone's life. Like Devin, who's in a rental situation and didn't grow up with a great deal, as I myself also would have fallen into that category. So him owning a home is the American dream in home ownership, but also it can change the trajectory of his life, number one. And then secondly, the way in our country, in our society, one of the ways that you develop wealth and develop some level of income is what you just said, that word equity, is owning a house. He may not have a lot of money in the bank, but if you look up and he's got $50,000 of equity in his home, that puts him in a pretty good financial position and a far different financial position than if he did not own a home. And so that's the power of what we do, with people. If it's, people that are, mature retirement age couples, as Jerry and Mary, and are getting a home in a gated community where they mow the lawn and it's low maintenance. One of the things about those neighborhoods, too, they mow the lawn, everybody's lawn, and do everything the same day. There's never a bad neighbor. Is there? I wish that guy over there mowed his lawn. They're all mowed the same day. And that's kind of cool when you see those neighborhoods. And then Devin's property out in Midwest City, I'll be out there tomorrow with inspectors. We'll be doing home inspections and try to make that work for him and move him down the road. And I had a couple a few days ago, a couple weeks ago, I guess now, that put in their first home. Jacob and Katie, and so they got in a brand new home, 4-bedroom home, and I think we paid $221 or $2 for it. It praised for $227. I feel that's a grand slam home run for me. We take somebody and you walk in to a brand new home. Number one, got them a double wide refrigerator that the builder threw in. Got them, gutters, downspouts all around the house. Got them several $1,000s toward their closing cost. But got them $6,000 of equity from what the appraiser said the home was worth to what we actually paid for it. So all of that, young couple, 25, 26 years old, first home, and then get them a few things that they may not have been able to get and probably would not have been able to get on their own, and put them in a situation where there's some equity. So you kind of got a win-win-win there all the way around the horn. But like I said, whether it's, no matter the age, I'm more excited about anything than they do about the home they're buying.
That's right. And then on top of that, how many times have people come back to you and said, okay, we're ready to upgrade, our income picture is better, we're ready to upgrade, and they cash a huge check from the sale? Or people that have never had more than 10 grand in the bank, and now they've got 70,000 because they made the choice of home ownership. That's what it's about.
Absolutely. The way you develop wealth in our society is through the owning of a home and owning of real estate. Now, if you're listening, take your pen out and write this one down, okay? There is only one thing better than owning your home that you live in, and that's owning two homes. Get your home and go buy additional real estate. Buy a duplex, lease it out. We buy some properties and turn them into short-term rentals, into Airbnbs. We bought properties and rehab. Owning real estate is a far better, safer investment than the stock market. Now, again, if you got in some Bitcoin and all that, I did not. There's times that you can make it and hit it rich, but the volatility of the stock market exists. Real estate in the history of statehood in Oklahoma has never gone down in value. It has only gone up. It's a matter of how fast it goes up. During COVID, during that period, it went up very rapidly. And of course, now it's more stabilized and going up at our typical, 3% per year. But only thing better than owning your home is owning a second real estate property, investment, whatever. One home, own two homes. Kendal, I want to talk a little bit about the whole real estate agent thing. And I feel like a lot of people don't know exactly what realtors could do. And we've got a program, I've been involved here in recent time as a broker and real estate coach. And the deal behind that is because the failure rate is quite high in real estate. So it's really important that everyone gets trained properly. But some of the things that, like we talked about, I don't think people realize that home inspections, my realtor needs to be there right in the middle of those with you and working through that with you and see if there's any repairs. The house that we're at today, we're going to have the roof looked at. We're probably going to get a new roof there. Well, who's going to pay for that, Rick? Well, the homeowner going to get his insurance and get an adjuster out there and get our roofer to meet that adjuster, and needs to be a new roof there. Should be totaled out, and the insurance company should pay for that new roof. That's who should pay for it. And so we need to make that happen. We're always looking to protect the buyer, and I know most agents, but if, one of the sessions that I have is the 7 mistakes that new realtors can make. And boy, most realtors are great people, have great hearts, hardworking. Just need to make sure everybody's got really good fundamentals and really good training, because those home inspections are important. Knowing a little bit about the appraisal process, knowing a little bit about how to negotiate repairs. These are things that a person that moves all the time and does this a lot buys 4 or 5 homes in a lifetime. As a realtor, we're involved in a lot of transactions, and so you do this often. So what's important to really be on top of your game as a realtor on behalf of your buyer or on behalf of your seller. Now, the selling of the property is largely just marketing, advertising, getting it out there, being available, and that kind of thing. But, the right realtor that is got good fundamentals and trained up properly can really bring you some value. Kendal, what is your experience in this 25 plus years of mortgage? You've seen probably certainly hundreds and maybe even thousands of realtors. Great ones. Some that do a lot, some that do a little. Have you seen a lot of people come and go and been around a lot of good ones?
It's so important that your realtor is good. And it takes time to get good at a craft. So sometimes a realtor is new. Rick McCormick was new one day, and doesn't mean that Rick doesn't deserve some business, because you need to do business to get good. But that's where a coaching type situation would come in and say, hey, I'm not ready yet, but I can act like I'm ready, and I've got a guy like Rick in my corner who's been through the pitfalls and stuff like this. So that's what I would say is, if you're not ready to be the kind of representative that people need, you need somebody in your corner that already is. You don't just wake up, you're born one day and you're a great realtor, or you get your license and you're a great realtor now. You have to learn the ups and downs and the ins and outs, and you need somebody in your corner that can help you with that. Sometimes people lean on their broker, but if you have somebody that's really experienced that can coach you on it, that would be ideal in my opinion.
Well, a couple of thoughts on that, and I appreciate that, Kendal, is that, coaching is not a luxury. It's more of a competitive advantage. And think about this. Michael Jordan had Phil Jackson his entire Chicago Bulls career. Magic Johnson had Pat Riley. And you just keep on going. I mean, Tom Brady had Belichick. And so it's great. I mean, we're just talking about some of the great people in the history of the game, of their sport, professionally. But Tiger Woods has 3 different coaches. He has a swing coach, and he has a short game coach, And so it doesn't matter how good you are. There are people, there are coaches, and myself. I continue to have mentors and people that perform at levels above me that I communicate with and study. And so that's the thing with any profession, but certainly I'd encourage any realtor, don't think that you're licensed and you've done some deals so you've made it. We can always grow. We can always learn more. And that's why, there's a lot of people that leave the profession and there's a failure rate among agents. So I'm just trying to see that and committed to seeing that thing reduced one agent at a time, because most agents that I across have great hearts and are great folks. And like you said, they just we all start out new, and we've put together a thing called top 7 mistakes that new realtors make and so on. So we're there to we love the industry. We're there to try to help people just enhance their skill. And at the same time, I'm reading, I'm a certified 10X coach, reading Grant Cardone's one book I'd recommend, Sell or Be Sold by Grant Cardone. He's written several. They've been New York Times bestsellers, but whatever. Find a couple people to follow and read and study and so on. So we wish you all realtors best luck, but we can help in the Coach Mac 10X coaching thing. Reach out. We'd love to do so. Kendal, we've got a couple of minutes, 2 or 3 minutes left here. Downtown tomorrow night, our Oklahoma City Thunder. That's tremendous for our city. We're in the Final Four. We're in the conference finals, up 1-0 Minnesota. Saturday night, they're going to play in Minnesota, but they're going to have tickets that the Paycom Center is going to be sold out. You can go down there and watch the game on the Jumbo. So I guess I know we're both fans and involved in a sports talk radio show and love the Thunder and go to games there ourselves. But, as far as our city, Oklahoma City, and the future and the excitement and the property values, real estate, how cool is it that what the Oklahoma City Thunder are doing here in our city?
It's amazing, and it's going to be so good for property value in and around downtown. And you're pretty much around downtown in the entire metro. I can get from North Edmond, I can get downtown and in my parking spot to go see a Thunder game in 25 minutes. You could do the same from the south part of the city, from the east and the west. So, we've got I-35 and I-40. You can get right to the arena, and it's amazing. And in these conference finals, you could have got in the building yesterday for $160. In New York tonight, cheapest ticket, $800. It's just everything. In New York City, you're leaving your residence that costs you 5 times probably what it costs here, and to go pay 5 times what it costs for a ticket. So it's incredible living here, and this is going to help us tremendously. And we're winning this title, Coach. We're doing it.
Tomorrow night, get down to Scissortail Park and hang out a couple hours before the game. It's awesome down there. There's food trucks. There's music. Go over to the Omni Hotel. hang out. It's just a great, I mean, even if you don't have tickets to the game, I mean, it is a great time and a great atmosphere. Saturday night, Kendall, if you'd have got his tickets, I may be down there Saturday night at the Paycom watching. The concessions are going to all be open. It's going to be a lot of fun. Our Oklahoma City Thunder, they're 7 wins away from the NBA championship, the World Championship. Starting with Minnesota Timberwolves tomorrow night, got to go up 2-0. So it's going to be great. We got a great city, we got a great area, and to you, our listener, I want to thank you for tuning in and listening to the Rick McCormick Show, where I'm joined by Kendal Dexter each week, the owner of Security Financial Mortgage. So until the next show, we're here on Wednesday evenings at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. The schedule is there at the artistfirstradio.com. Thank you for being with us. Until the next time that we meet again, you stay safe and may God bless.